Welcome to the Diary of Beautician. This is your host, Sha. Tune into my podcast from the health and beauty industry via my website. I'll be discussing various topics, stories, news, educational, historical, and personal content. Head over to www.shashalondon.co.uk. You can follow me on Instagram at shashalondon84, Facebook, Shashalondon, Twitter, Shashalondon, also on LinkedIn as Shashalondon. If you have any questions, do feel free to send them to me via social media, or you can email me at shashalondoninfo@gmail.com. So, welcome back everyone. Thank you so much to everyone who has continuously listened to my podcast. I hope it's been informative. I hope it's been educational. I hope it's helped you in some shape or form. And welcome to those who are tuning in for the first time. I really hope you enjoy my podcast and be tuning in each week. So I try to mix it up as much as I can each week regarding health and beauty and even some personal content. So this week I'm just going to talk about just humanity. All of us around the world are all going through some personal traumatic event, either through a loss of a loved one, through these diseases, the COVID-19 or coronavirus, or the person has been going through ill health. So again, I just want to share that. I want to say is my condolences to you, to your family. It's very difficult. It's so difficult. These are the times when someone's passed away, or where family come together, right, and console each other in gesture of hug, just hugging one another and just crying with each other, holding each other's hand, and being in that space together, that social space together, sharing that pain and the sadness. And we can't do that right now. I mean, we really can't do that because of the nature of these diseases that are causing, mass death across the world. So that social element where someone's grieving, where we would come together and share that moment, we were unable to do that. And it's really, really hard because that's what connects us as humans, right? The touch aspect, the integration aspect, it's something that makes us feel that we're part of something, right? Being in each other's presence. And to not have that time to do that is so damn hard. And, my heart goes out to all those who have lost someone this week, last week, in the last month, last couple months. I am so sorry for you. And, I want to send a virtual hug because that's all I can do. It's so hard. Like when you're someone who, I've had losses in my family years ago, and it was literally like back to back, and it was really incredibly hard for the entire family. And as I said, the thing that kind of brought us together was that social aspect, coming together and just hugging or holding each other's hand, or just being in the same room as each other, and as I said, not having that moment to share that with the people you love, or the persons that who knew that person the most, or share time with them. It's incredibly hard. And as I said, all I can say to you is, there is a way forward, and the way forward is knowing that myself and many other people around the world are sending their love and their virtual hugs. And you're not alone. You are not alone in this battle of these diseases that's taking people out. You are not alone in the grief process. Yes, we're not there in the physicalness of holding each other and being in that space with each other, but we're here on the other side with you in solidarity, in the sending the love and the condolences and the support that you are currently experiencing. And in those circumstances and the circumstances that people are going through right now, stay in touch with each other. We have the technology where we can FaceTime or go on Skype or other, technological sites that you can see another person directly in their home. Take the opportunity to use these things for now, and connect with each other through that technological experience. I know it's even I'm saying it and I'm just like shaking my head at, oh my gosh, we're doing this now. This can't be real. And I know it's a lot to even comprehend, but that's the best that you can do right now in the grieving process. Talk to your family through these technological equipments and apps and things, and just connect through the phone and see each other through the virtual FaceTime and Zoom and all the other stuff, WhatsApp. Take those opportunities to talk to each other and share that cry, share the conversation of the experiences you had with the person you've lost. And don't remember all the bad times, remember the good times. Remember the times that you did things together or experiences that you had with that person. I think as humans, sometimes we do lean on that negative side more than we tend to lean on the good. When you hear a lot of these experiences with people, it's always the negative and, the harms and stuff like that. But share those good moments that you had with that person. Share those moments and laugh. Laughter is great. Yes, crying is going to be a natural reaction to the devastating news that you've just heard. But laugh as well. Laugh. Laugh. Take out the photo albums. If people still even have that anymore, I do. But take out those photo albums. Take out the messages that you sent one another on the phone. I don't know if people still got these things, but postcards. I keep them. Yeah, I do. I actually keep postcards that I used to receive. Gosh, I'm showing my age. Just go back, look, laugh, cry, and do share them with people around you. Okay, share those moments, because it's going to help you to deal with what's actually happening. Don't go quiet. Don't go still, because that can lead to the mind drifting and you becoming, in that space of time, becoming depressed or lonely or heartbroken. And, we don't want that. I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear people becoming depressed or, isolating themselves to the point they're losing their mind. I want you to go through this process and just know that you are not alone going through this process. Speak to people, laugh, cry, look back on those photo albums, those postcards, the letters. Oh my gosh, I don't know if everybody's got letters, but letters that may have been written years and years ago. Look back in not sadness, but look back at the moments, the joyful moments you had with the person you've lost in this such horrific times. So that's where I'm going with this. It's just, we need to exercise humanity in the midst of the storm, because we are in the storm. And, people who are losing people by the day, if you have neighbours and you're, connected to them, you're close with them, again, give them a call, check on them, see how they're doing. That's showing humanity, right? You're showing that you actually care. It's a word I don't hear much anymore. You actually care. You actually care to know that that person's okay next door or across the road or even down the road on another street or another road. You care. Exercise the humanity that we are. We're humans. We're human beings. We are existing on this planet together. And as much as we're seeing there's a lack of it, this is the time to start really showing it, because we're all going through it. We are all experiencing some type of trauma, hearing, just imagine just constantly hearing through the news outlets, whether it's through your newspaper, through your social media, through the TV, through your radio, all these mediums, you're hearing this constant numbers of death. Again, it's traumatizing and traumatic to you. And even if you think, oh, well, it doesn't affect me because it's no one I know, over a period of time it will. And you won't even realize that all these things that you're hearing that you ordinarily wouldn't hear as much and experience before this happened, you're hearing it now. And over time it will become a thing that you accept naturally. Death is part of life. Life and death goes hand in hand. And we know where there is death, there will be life. Okay, there will be a new little person, new human being coming into this life when someone else is passing on. And we've got to realize that it's not normal hearing this amount of death on a daily basis. It's not normal at all. And you've got to find the right way in dealing with it. So for me and my family, we tend to not listen too much to all the news and all the social and medias and TV updates on all the corona and COVID-19 diseases reports. We tend to just take literally one hit of the news and then leave it as that. Because as I said, it's about protecting yourself from the trauma mentally, and for you soaking up so much of that trauma, it can and it will play havoc on your mental health. So just take one little cusp of it, one little dip of it, take a pinch of salt with everything you hear, and then just walk away. Okay? And if you feel that this is becoming too much for you, talk about it. Talk about it with somebody. Connect with a relative or a friend, and just ask them if it's okay. Can I talk with you? Because as I said, we're all going through this same experience right now, and I think we can all be caring and sympathetic or empathetic to each other as human beings on this planet together during this time. Okay, it doesn't take a few minutes of your time, or even half an hour, furthermore, you've got the time now. There is no excuse. And all those that you've been avoiding or putting off, have those conversations. Okay? Not to stir up, upset or hurt or confusion. No, it's just making amends, going forward together, okay? Because we're all in it together. All the things that we were as human beings fighting for, racism, homophobic, so many different types of things that we're all striving for and fighting for. Inclusion, diversity, sexism, all these things under the sun now doesn't really seem to really matter, right? And that's where we've got to kind of come back to the essence where we're all human beings. We're all human beings of all different species, if you want to put it that way. But we are human beings coexisting, okay? People, remember, you're coexisting with people like you, right, on this planet. And we are all being subjected to something so devastating. So it's time like these, we really need to find our humanity. I can't believe I'm actually saying it, but finding our humanity, finding ourselves in the midst of all of this, and really showing ourselves to be good people, okay? Helping each other out, consoling each other. And yes, those things are the social things, but we're going to have to adapt now to showing that sympathy, that empathy to our loved ones, our friends, our strangers, okay? We've been told when we go out, we have to keep that 2 meter distance from each other. And when we're buying foods and things, most supermarkets have, allocated a minimum of certain foods and have created space in the shops. So it's time like this, we need to exercise these things and show, again, humanity. Take time, be wise in our spending. You don't need to buy out everything. You don't need to consume everything, because then you're throwing all of that waste back into our environment. Okay, and we don't have the manpower right now because most of us are at home. So you have to exercise wisdom when you're spending on buying foods that you know you're not going to consume. In the beginning, when we first heard about this pandemic, loads of people were buying incredibly a lot of food, and a lot of food were wasted, and other people couldn't get the food. Okay, so we need to be exercising wisdom, people, using our brains and showing humanity that we are human beings and we can coexist and we can share. That's another thing. It's weird. It's simple, basic things, but sharing, sharing the food, the resources. Okay, just like people were going crazy with the hand sanitizers and buying them out to the point where nobody else could get any. And then you had, nasty people, negative people selling hand sanitizers for crazy amount of money. Okay? Because there are people in this world, I'm sad to say it, but there are some very negative, nasty people who think it's okay to treat people this way and behave in ways like that, overpricing goods, treating people like they're no better than they are. You are a human being just like the next person. And it's incredibly sad that we have to be in the same space as these people. But for those who know better, do better. You never know. This is one of the things. You just never know when you're pouring all of that out, your negativity and your nastiness into this world. You never know, there may be a day where you've done that for so long, you've even forgotten who you were. And there's going to be a day when you're going to need somebody to help you. And you would want to hope somebody's going to be there to help you. And that's, some people say, is karma or the circle of life, or you reap what you sow. But we need to, as a human species, we need to come together. We need to come together in this storm and be kind. Again, another word that uses a child. Be kind to one another. Okay? Be kind. So, as I said, speaking to people and how you're talking to people and how you're treating people, instill this in your children. A lot of these children are not kind. And I've seen it. I've literally seen it. I've seen the language that some of these children are using to each other and what they're seeing from their parents. And they're thinking it's okay to talk to each other or treat each other that way. These are the time to instill some goodness in your children. And even yourself, as grown as you are, I've seen some adults who have no kindness in them, because you can see it in their how they talk to each other and how they react to each other. There's no kindness there. So showing, again, this humanity, it's there. We have it all in us. We have it. It's inside of us. We just need to exercise it. We need to pour it out amongst each other. We don't know how long we're going to stay in isolation, staying at home. We have no idea, because just like this, these diseases arise from somewhere. We don't know how long it's going to take for us to go back into a social environment. We don't know how long it's going to take for us to go back to work. But in the midst of the storm, as I said, we can action, show act of humanity towards each other. We've got our doctors, our nurses, our healthcare professionals, our bus drivers, our delivery drivers, our sales assistants in the supermarkets, still out there on the front line providing a service for us. We got to think about them. We got to think about how they are putting their life on the line to provide us with the ability to get our essentials on a daily basis. And we need to be mindful of them and be grateful for them that they're still there doing their jobs. Yes, it's their jobs, but they're there. They could go, you know what, these people can just go home and there'll be no supermarket open. There'll be no hospital open. There'll be none of these things available if we all were selfish. But these people choose to go to work, to save lives, to help us with our essentials. And we need to show an act of kindness and respect. Okay? We don't know how long these things are going to last. We don't know where this life is going to go, because our world has changed. It's actually changed. And what is to come, we don't know. But use your humanity, act of kindness, caring, sharing. Use it to be connected to each other, even if it's not in the social space. Use it in other ways. It can be done. It can be done. And don't allow these traumas, these events that are happening to deal with you mentally. You've got to literally take it with a pinch of salt each day. Redirect that into yourself or your family. Find things to do. Do the things I said in my last podcast. Find things to do that you have been putting off for years or even for months. Okay? Learn something. Grasp something. Be inclusive with your family. Don't isolate yourself in the room if your family's in the house with you. Unless you're unwell, then I understand why you're isolating. But if you're not and you're all well, connect, come together, share these moments. I was brought up in the 90s, so we did a lot of things on a social aspect. We didn't have the technology as yet, apart from the telephone. And hardly anybody really called the phone. We was always round at each other's houses, or we was always out playing games on the street. Sometimes we even had family nights. We were playing games, board games like Monopoly and other games, but we were together. So it's time to go back to those type of ways where we socially connect as a family, as a unit, as a couple, as a friend, living together. Okay, it's not what you want to be when it's all of you in that same space as a family, extended, but learn to work together in the house as a family, as friends, as roommates, whoever it is you're living with. Use humanity for good and look forward to what could be a better situation once we've come out of isolation. So I hope you've enjoyed my podcast today. And as I said, like I always say with my podcasts, if there's anything that I have left out, if there's something you would like to discuss, I'm also here if anybody wants to talk. I'm not professionally trained, but I have an ear to hear, and I will refer you if it's something quite traumatizing or something you're going through. I will refer you to either Samaritans or NSPCC. Some of those are big organizations that you can call to have a proper conversation where no one will be judging you, okay? And again, as I said, you're not alone, everyone. You're not alone. We are all going through it. We are all experiencing all of this right now. But just remember, you're human, you're a being, you are on this planet with all of us. And it's your choice how you're going to show another person an act of kindness or care, or it's a choice. And I hope we all going to make the right choices in these times of isolation. So guys, have a great week, okay? Stay positive, okay? Stay positive. And know that you are not alone, okay? Take care.